Hey guys, so as promised, I'm gonna give it a shot and try to show you guys how I make Irish soda bread because it's St. Patrick's Day and I am insanely bored so far. So here's what we got going on. Just so you can see, oh yeah, I got a helper here. This is my son Pat. He's a little shy. There he goes. If you hear something in the background, it's Scooby-Doo. It's been on like a 24-hour loop. It's kind of driving me nuts. So here's what we got going on. Let me show you what I'm working on here. So 3 cups of flour, half a cup of sugar, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of baking soda, teaspoon of baking powder, and these guys right here are caraway seeds. Let me see if I can show you. They're very small. But this is the stuff that, you can't see anything with my giant fingers. But essentially caraway seeds are what make rye bread taste like rye bread. It's like when you get seeded rye, they get those little seeds in there. Some people like them, some people don't. I love it, so I leave it in. In addition, nothing happens because the baking soda needs to react. That's what makes the bread rise. So what we have in this container is buttermilk, and it's got acid in it. It's going to make the baking soda fizz, like when you made volcanoes out of vinegar and baking soda. And then an egg. Chicken gave its best. So anyway, here we go. What we want to do is kind of make like a really shaggy dough. I'll show you what I mean. So flour, sugar, salt, soda, baking powder, and the caraway seeds. Yeah, you know what? I want more caraway seeds. It's tough to do with one hand. My youngest son won't go to sleep, so my wife took him for a drive. There we go. Now, what we need, whisk. And we want to make sure that all that gets evenly distributed. So you don't bite into like one big piece of salt or one giant clump of caraway seeds. All right. Now the process here is much like you do if you were going to make pasta. And I might have to do a how to make pasta video. So what I'm going to do is I make like a little well in the center. My hands are clean. I've washed them pretty consistently for the last 6 weeks. Egg goes into the buttermilk. One-handed. The shell did go in. So that's a classic Mr. Mac right there. All right. Whisk that. You've seen whisking before. That's what's happening now. All right, all whisked. When baking, wet stuff always goes into the dry stuff. Otherwise, you get it all over the place. And I won't use the whisk for this one because my grandmother said a fork is better. You want it to be a little bit shaggy. So that's what, I'll show you what I mean by that. It's not gonna form like a solid bread dough. It's gonna be drier than that. But this is driving me nuts, so hold on. Now it stops moving. All right, it's gonna start coming together. So again, if you get super bored and you wanna try this, it's a very easy bread to make. It is a crowd pleaser, great for breakfast. It'll be nice for dinner tonight. Pat, can you help me for a second? Well, come here. All right, Scooby-Doo is more interesting than you guys, apparently. So let me prop you up here. There we go. All right. I'm just gonna keep mixing this until I get as much of that flour worked in. I'm actually not gonna use my hands too much like you would for regular bread dough, because this is something between a cake and a bread. But it's not sweet like cake, even though it's got sugar in it. There's no yeast, so you have to wait for it. It's very quick. All right, this is what we're left with. So the dough looks like this. What I mean by shaggy is it's not like a solid ball. There's a little bit of powder, a little bit of flour still left behind. We'll try to grab that. And it's fairly sticky. So it sticks right to that fork. All right, let's take it over. This is easier if my wife was holding the camera. So what I've got here, baking mat, it's non-stick. I just dump it out. Makes a terrible mess. And then we're just gonna kind of, oh, hang on, I've got someone to help me. Hold on one second. This is Mrs. Macaluso.
Hello.
Yeah, she's holding the trash. Hold on one second. I'm gonna ask her to hold this while we knead the dough. There we go. So I'm just gonna do this. Not doing too much, just a little bit. Sticks to these claws. Help out just a little bit. A little more flour on the bench. I'm making a terrible mess. All right, that's a little easier. So what I want is a round ball. My wife is very good to hold this camera for me.
Yes, that's gonna taste good.
Or it won't. You won't know. All right. So now those kind of come together. That's essentially a soda bread. Let me wash these.
Let's get an up close shot of this. I don't know. I don't know about this, hon. This might not be your best work.
It's my best work. All right. Now, by either tradition or by science, what's necessary at this point is that we cut some relief lines into the bread. What's going to happen is as it rises, that'll crust out. It makes everything nice and crispy on the top. Because it's Irish, there's a tradition. So you make like a cross in the top. I'm using a serrated knife that's super sharp. And it's going to cut the dough very easily. So one there. One there. And it's kind of like that intersection between religion and science. That's the sound of the oven ready. Soda bread goes on the prepared baking sheet. And into an oven at 350 degrees. We're going to use the miracle of videotape, and I'll stop here and we'll come back when it's done.